never achieve our destiny as a species, and we will fall short.
Once again, we don't have a specific formula by Loren Eiseley for saving ourselves. All he gives us is the reminder that we must be aware of what we're doing. And perhaps that's our reason, our best reason for being hopeful, that human beings are capable of being aware. They're capable of insight. That's the thing. That's the thing we can say about all human beings. We are capable of insight, and that means insight into our own behavior. And maybe that's the most hopeful thing. He has another little parable about how he was called by a coroner to help him identify an individual who had been found when a drainage ditch was drained. And this individual apparently had taken pains to make sure that nobody would ever discover his body or have any clue to his identity. He was going to be absolutely certain that no one would ever know where he had departed this world, nor how, nor what his identity was. And so now Eiseley is looking at his skull, and the dental work is still there. And we know, said Eiseley, we know this about this man, that he took care of himself, because this is very expensive dental work that we see in his mouth. And so the man thought that he was going to escape anonymously, but dental records do exist, and drainage ditches do get drained. And so here his skeletal remains were discovered. And then Eiseley adds this. He says, the best way to be resurrected is to be forgotten. That's a very cryptic line, and maybe that's a hopeful thing. The best way to be resurrected is to be forgotten. Isn't that what Jesus was saying when he said, whosoever shall lose his life, whosoever shall gain his life shall lose it, whosoever shall lose his life shall gain it? And for example, here's King Tut. He thought that he was encased within an adequate layer of stonework, but now all of a sudden his name is famous, it's in circulation. So maybe that's a sign of hope. Maybe tragedy can't be avoided. Eiseley doesn't seem to think so. Harry Emerson Fosdick once used this phrase. He said, life is basically tragic. And to me, that was a surprising thing coming from Harry Emerson Fosdick, who was really an optimistic kind of preacher, early half of this century. Many people would say the greatest preacher of the first half of the 20th century. He once made this statement, life is basically tragic. Eiseley would agree, life is basically tragic, but out of the tragedy bursts the meaning, and out of anonymity emerges identity. Or as Martin Buber said, the seed of light can only burst from the soil of darkness.
That's beautiful.
So now we're at the end of the hour, dear friends. The book has been The Invisible Pyramid by Loren Eiseley, and it is indeed a book which evokes from us the best of Loren Eiseley. Do you have any concluding comments, Dr. Chen?
Well, perhaps I just like to quote from his very last, at the end of the book.
Let's have a good closing quote.
Okay. In the ancient days when we were a simpler folk, when humankind wandered through briars and along windy precipices, it was thought well when encountering comets or fire drakes to pronounce the name of God with a clear voice. This act was performed once again by many millions when the wounded Apollo 13 swerved homeward, her desperate crew intent, if nothing else availed, upon leaving their ashes on the winds of earth. A love for earth almost forgotten in man's roving mind had momentarily reasserted its mastery, a love for the green metals we have so long taken for granted and desecrated to our cost. Man was born and took shape upon Earth's leafy shadows. The most poignant thing that the astronauts had revealed in their extremity was the nostalgic call still faintly ringing on the winds from the sunflower forest.
And thus endeth the reading of the lesson for the day.